From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Tuesday night on News Channel 5 Plus. Plenty of things to talk about throughout the course of the show today. Titans opening mini camp, their mandatory 3-day work at the end of their off-season program. Lots of things to get to there. We can talk about the progress of Marcus Mariota, not going through teamwork, but he's doing a bunch of drills. He's really coming along on that leg that was broken at the end of last season and should be fully ready to go at 100% by the time training camp comes around. DeMarco Murray not practicing this week because of the hand surgery he had, or the finger surgery he had about 2 weeks ago. So Derrick Henry getting most of the work in the backfield for the Titans. Offense really struggled today. Obviously, you don't have Mariota or Murray on the field. They fumbled the ball a couple times, a couple interceptions, penalties. It was a day for the defense today. They looked really good. They were sharp in a lot of different phases and set the tone for what this team hopes are the most important 3 days of the offseason. The mass installations here during this time, and just the time to really cap off everything you've done over the last 2 months as you try to get set for the start of next year. Meanwhile, you've got the Predators packing up their bags, getting set. Tomorrow we'll see head coach Peter Laviolette and general manager David Poile chat to the media for the first time. We'll learn there the extent of some of the injuries the guys played in throughout this incredible playoff run, some of their plans moving forward to the offseason. So much to talk about tonight. We want to welcome you into the program. Phone lines are open for you. 737-7767 is the number. We'll hear from some of the Titans today. We'll hear from some of the Predators. Lots to get to on the program tonight. Also, we can talk some NBA Finals as well. The Warriors getting their second title in 3 years last night. Kevin Durant goes for 39 points as they win 129-120 to win the series in 5 games. Just a brilliant effort by KD going to Golden State. He really shined. He was great. Maybe the best player in the postseason, though. I will always say that LeBron James is the best player in the NBA. He just is. And I think this series was further proof of that, in the sense that whenever he left the court, the Cavaliers were in huge trouble. When he was on the court, they had a puncher's chance. But when he left the court, they were just a disaster against the Warriors. So you really saw, to me, the impact and the greatness of LeBron James in this series with how he played and how they played when he either was on the court or was off the court. For the Warriors, though, this is a championship, a second in 3 years. They look to be set up to make runs like this for multiple years into the future now. Your thoughts on this team, your thought on their greatness, 16-1 during the postseason. That is pretty much unheard of. Just a sensational run. 1 loss away in Game 4 of the finals of having a perfect postseason run. Best of the best in the NBA beat them 1 time. Incredible stuff there. But what do you make, too, of Kevin Durant going to Golden State? Remember, he was close a year ago with Oklahoma City, teamed up with Russell Westbrook, from beating Golden State and getting to the NBA Finals with the chance to win a championship. He was that close a year ago, and he didn't get it done, and then he went and joined forces with them. He certainly had the right to do it. He was a free agent. He actually would have made more money had he stayed in Oklahoma City. But he chose to go there. Wanted a better chance to expand his game. Wanted a chance to win that ring. Thought he had a better chance there. Proved to be right. But does that cheapen it at all to you that we've seen some of these NBA stars go out of their way to try and find sort of that super team that they've got the best chance to win with? It does a little bit for me, I'll be honest. it's just hard for me to think of the guys that I grew up watching. You know, the Larry Birds, Magic Johnsons, Michael Jordans, those guys. It's hard for me to imagine one of them leaving a Boston, leaving an LA, leaving a Chicago to go join forces with somebody else because they thought they had a better chance to win. All those guys wanted to beat you as is. I mean, MJ's early Chicago teams were terrible. And they made a bunch of changes there. Got Phil Jackson in over Doug Collins, moved a bunch of pieces around. But those early teams, the late 80s Bulls teams, were not good. And then they win 6 titles in 8 years. But MJ wasn't fleeing to go join the bad boys in Detroit or to join Bird in Boston. He wanted to beat them. He wanted to do it in Chicago. Think about some of the others, like Patrick Ewing and some of those Knicks teams. They never won a title. But those guys weren't fleeing either. They weren't trying to join the Lakers or join the Bulls. They were trying to beat the Bulls. Figure out how to contain Michael Jordan. It's just a different era now. I think people have talked so much about how we judge you on your rings. And I think LeBron kind of started this phenomenon in that when he got into the league, everybody talked about how great he was, the physical specimen, one of the greatest athletes we'd ever seen. But after a while, when he was doing the unheard of with frankly, a pretty bad Cavaliers team, and he was willing them in the playoffs and getting them to finals, but coming up short against better teams, people were somehow knocking him for that. And I guess they'll do it again now, frankly. I've heard people today knock LeBron James for losing in the finals. Do you know where the Cleveland Cavaliers would be today if LeBron James wasn't there? There is zero chance they would be in the NBA Finals. There is zero chance they would beat the Golden State Warriors in any game. They did in this series, and they were in some other battles. Now, Golden State's just better. But that's not a knock to me on LeBron. That's just saying Golden State's better. And I think when he took the criticism early in his career that, oh, LeBron's great, he's a good player, but he can't win in the finals. He hasn't won a championship. Where are the rings? Show me the hardware. That's what makes a truly great player. I think that went to his head. I think he thought, for me to be considered a truly great player, I can't just win MVPs. I can't just be an all-star. I can't be considered the best player unless I go win some championships. And that's why he went to Miami. He felt the pressure of Cleveland, the pressure of winning a championship, and he went to Miami to win one. And he got a couple of them. That relieved some of the pressure, and he went back home. But I think now we've got this thing where we've told our superstars, especially in basketball where you compare individual guys all the time. I think the message has been that in order to be truly great, if you want to be considered in the breath of Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and people like that, you've got to win championships. And I think that's what LeBron started. I think that's what Kevin Durant kind of continued here. That if you can't win it, you're never going to be judged in the same light as some of these other guys. If you're Kevin Durant, you're an MVP. You're a scoring champ many times over. But until you win that title, how great are you in the all-time sense? Now he probably climbs that list because he gets a win and then gets a championship in Golden State. And he's a Finals MVP to go on top of that. Is that good for the game? That's, to me, the reason behind these players moving around. But is that good for the game? I don't necessarily think it is. I want to hear from you tonight, 737-7767. I'll get back into that on the other side of this break. We'll also hear again from some of these Titans players today from minicamp. Head coach Mike Mularkey as well. Some more Predators reaction from the Stanley Cup final as well coming up on the course of the show. Our phone lines are open, 737-7767. We'll talk some Preds tonight. We'll talk Titans minicamp. We'll talk more about the NBA Finals. And to me, why, what we were just talking about, these players picking super teams, not good for the NBA long term. We'll talk about that on the other side. This is SportsLine on News Channel 5+.